Hello and welcome back to Ethmani Plays Minecraft. This is a much different base and I'm wearing much different gear than the last episode, and that's because I'm thinking of changing around the format in which I do this. I'm thinking that it's going to become a monthly thing, and instead of sticking to one world or server, I'm just going to, give an overview of what I did in Minecraft that month, because that's kind of what the series is named, me playing Minecraft, so whatever I'm doing. And this is kind of foolproof because it means that even if a server dies or I lose interest in something, as long as I do something else, I can still make a video about it. So this is actually a server that I started with my friends quite on the spur of the moment. We just had an idea of making a server and beating the game, because a few of us have never done it before, me included. So we made the server one night and we kind of all split up and got some like iron gear, and we found a lava pool and kind of met up to go into the nether. But we had to stop playing before we could beat the game, so we decided to make a nether portal back into the overworld, and it spat us out here. And we couldn't get on the next day, so a few of us just decided to, chill here, make a base, grind some diamonds so that it'd be easier to beat the game. And then we all, met up here and beat the game. But we're quite far out from spawn. Our coordinates are about 6,500 to 4,700, so it was quite the journey to get here from spawn for some players. But, it's not that bad. We're in a pretty decent spot. We're pretty close to everything, and I figured that today I'm just going to give you a tour of the world. So as you just saw behind me, this was the very first room we designed of this cabana. It has our chests, some furnaces, all the crafting blocks, and a pair of bunk beds because there were originally only 2 people living here, and my dog Gil. But if we move across, we see the enchanting room with all the bookshelves and then some storage for various enchanting things. And the roofs, I think, are pretty nice. They're like we tried to make the base feel like indoors and outdoors at the same time, and I think the leaves really help a lot with that. But over here is some crop farms. We originally had wheat, but we kind of, dispersed it elsewhere and put in better crops. And then, of course, we have our sugarcane for enchanting setups and books and all that. And then we get onto the additions. We used to have a nether portal here, but we had to get rid of it due to linking issues, so we have just a small random nether wart farm. We have some sheep pens of various different colors. We kind of have an empty one at the end that we might fill later. And then over here we have what was supposed to be a temporary villager area, but it's actually been quite permanent. We have a little fence airlock that you can go through to actually get to the villager station. And we have all sorts of villagers in here. This is mainly the selling area where you can sell various things for emeralds, but you can also buy things. Like I buy my food from the farmer, or like you can buy gear from the smiths, and we bought a few trial chamber maps from the cartographers. But the reason we have so many beds in here is because we used to have all of our librarians in here. And these rails are for a kind of novel curing setup that we had. We would put a zombie in a minecart over here behind all these stone blocks. He would sit right in there, and then whatever villager you wanted, you would just trap them in that little U shape between all the rails. You would push a minecart through them, it would pick them up, and then you can bring them all the way out here, get them to be bitten and turn into a zombie, and then you can push them back and cure them right here. So that's how we, did our curing setup. It was a pretty fun way to do it. We named our zombie Dr. Zombert, but unfortunately he died because of some iron golems that got out, so now we always keep an iron golem in the pit so that the villagers always feel safe, quote unquote. We have some more areas back there. Some people decided to build some other separate bases, but I'm not really going to show those because I don't know much about them. But we have a little tree farming area. We have 2 nether portals there. That one up top leads to the nether roof, and then that one goes to lower nether. And we also have some happy gas, which are actually, we found quite useful for transporting mobs over like long distances, which I guess, makes a lot of sense, but we've just really never used them like that before. So we thought that was pretty cool. This tower I'm actually going to use right now is a elytra launch pad. We did a little bit of end busting once we beat the game, so you can just go in and go up and then activate your elytra and swoop down. I thought that was pretty cool. But this is kind of our industrial area of the world. We tried for this world to design our own farms instead of just copying a lot off of tutorials. And granted, we still did copy some tutorials, but we decided, it's pretty fun to design your own farm. And when you do, you kind of know the insides and outsides of it. You can like build it much faster and get all the resources all in one go. So this pit is for our creeper farm, which is all the way down at the bottom here. This is loosely based off of a Tango Tech design that I saw in a YouTube video, but I couldn't find an exact tutorial for it, so it's kind of my own development, but not really. It's mostly copied. So inside, it uses a shifting floor design, and then once the shifting floor clips the creepers through and they fall down onto magma blocks, and their drops are picked up by hopper minecarts, and they go over here into a dropper, into a bubble column. And the bubble column also doubles as a people column in case you get stuck down here without an elytra. But if we go all the way back up, digging this hole was, quite the journey. But we did do the creeper farm like all in one day from start to finish, which was pretty cool. Like from design to implementation in the world was all in one day. The only thing we still have left to do on it is to light up all of the caves in about a 5-block render distance, so that only creepers spawn down there, and then the rates will be much higher. It produces a good amount, though. We can get all of this from about like 10 to 20 minutes of AFKing, and it does provide some drops from other monsters as well. That's just because we don't have, complete trapdoor coverage due to powering some blocks, which we shouldn't. And, we could fix that in the design, but it's pretty nice to have other mob drops, so I don't know. I think that's just a little thing that's pretty cool. But next to it is the quite more obvious farm, which is our iron farm. And we also designed this partially ourselves, mostly like vaguely based off of designs we've seen before. It has 4 clusters, each with 3 villagers, and then a pillager in the middle for their larger fear radius. Pillager with no crossbow, which took, a while to get, and we've had to replace him like 3 times. And then this clock down here, this daylight detector, whenever it turns night, it'll send a pulse through a pulse extender, which will push up slabs around the pillager, which will allow the villagers to sleep, because they need to sleep every 20 minutes in order to be able to spawn a golem. We also have another backup pillager in a boat right here, the individual that has friendliness, so in case that guy ever dies by a stray iron golem, we can just put that pillager up there. But I'm gonna swim my way back to base. And the last part of our overworld is this ship. It looks pretty, squashed from one dimension, but I think otherwise it's pretty cool. It's very expensive. I think you might see now why we needed an iron farm, because all of our railings are made out of anvils. But the whole idea is that this is a merchant ship, and it's where we're going to store all of our librarian villagers. So we have a little captain quarters here with, we're going to have extra book storage and extra emerald storage, so you can buy whatever you want. We have some nice little sleeping quarters for the villagers, and we have captain mending and first mate unbreaking. And they, sell. I have the books cured, but not everyone on the server does, so I can get everything for 1 emerald, but some people can't. So we just have them. They're pretty nice to get, mending and unbreaking on all your tools. Kind of one of the biggest assets to have in any Minecraft world. But I think this room is pretty well decorated. The paintings everywhere make it like really homey, and the bookshelf is a nice touch. I especially like the use of the buttons in the shelves. I don't really like how they kind of float off the shelf. I think that was like kind of an oversight on Mojang's part. And like, they're a little bit too small. I don't know. I don't really know why, but I think it looks nice. So that's it for the captain quarters. But then over here we have a crow's nest up there, which I'm not going to visit, but we have the upper deck, which doesn't really have anything. I don't know if we're going to put anything here long term. But then you go below deck and you have an enchanting setup right here in this little nook in case you ever, need to enchant something. I don't really know if you would want to enchant a book, maybe. I don't know. And then we have a couple trapdoors which all lead down into the hole. And the hole just stores all the rest of our villagers. We only have 4 in right now, but we'll hopefully get like a lot of the more useful books soon. And then this cage back here will eventually be for a new zombie, who the whole idea is you can just like kind of let loose in the village area, and any ones you don't want to be cured, you can just flip the trapdoor down. We might need to test that, though, because I don't really know if that stops a zombie. So that's kind of our idea for this ship, which I think turned out pretty well. But now we are going to take off from the ship and visit the Nether. So we're going to go through the lower Nether portal, which is right here. And it kind of spits you out into, a little tunnel because we dug into the side of a mountain to make our portal for some reason. But if you go out one of these tunnels, all the other tunnels lead to ancient debris mining, which I haven't done any of yet, but you'll see this eye made out of quartz. And if you just go down and follow the little arrow there, you get to the output of the iron farm. And the iron farm is pretty efficient because as soon as a golem spawns, it gets transported to the nether, so you don't have to wait the 30-second cooldown in order to get another. So it's, pretty efficient. This is all in like probably 30 minutes of AFKing. I don't know about that. So yeah, I think the farm output is pretty cool, and it actually does produce every once in a while a little bit of string, because the villagers will spawn cats, which will, go through the portals and die, just like the iron golem. We do eventually need to move this up to the nether roof for easier access, but we just built it in the nether because we didn't have nether roof access yet. But that's pretty much the only thing in the lower nether. We haven't done much anything else around here. Maybe we'll do some more things down here. We'll probably build a wither skeleton farm, but maybe not. They're a little annoying to build. Now, there's really only one more thing in this world, which is at the top, at the nether roof. If we can hit the... Oh, no, I couldn't hit it. I'll try again. Perfect, first try. You can go through and you can see we got onto the nether roof. And if you follow the direction of the ladder, you get to this portal, which leads right into the stronghold where we fought the Ender Dragon. Our stronghold was kind of in a deep dark, which we thought was pretty cool, so we decided to keep some of the skulk veins around. But we have a bed, a few bubble columns if you want to get up. The stronghold's actually like right under a village, which is where we got our villager population started. And then we can go through the end, and you're on the obsidian platform. And we haven't really done anything except for built an ender. And, this is the only farm we have on the world right now that we used a tutorial for. But it's a pretty nice ender. It's a pretty good design. 0 to 30 in like 2 minutes. And we've got, ender chests. We have an enchanting setup back there. I'm not going to get too close because it's really loud. But we have anvils and enchanting setup. So anything you really could use your XP for. So as I'm running across this leaf bridge, that concludes the tour of this current Minecraft server. I don't really know how much longer it's going to last. Hopefully a little bit. And I don't know. I think I'm just going to keep building some farms, and maybe I'll make a base at some point. But who knows? Maybe it'll die before then. So yeah, that's it.